How many years are we looking at for a Panthers rebuild? I need to, kind of put my money where my mouth is a little bit here, right? I talk about how this season for the Panthers is all about the future. Building for the future. Building for the future. What can you do for me for the future? All right, well, how long into the future are we talking about? When David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, is looking to hire a coach, which he's probably doing at least behind closed doors right now, he is surely going to ask, what is your plan for turning Carolina into a contender, and how long will it take? Right? It can't just be, well, what do you like to call on fourth down? Like, hey, on third and long, what's your go-to? It can't just be those questions. It also has to be, what's your vision here? Right? What do you need? How long will it take you to get it? Now, if I'm being completely honest, I think Tepper might fall for the guy that says, next year. Right? Oh, yeah, bring me in. I'm easy Mac. Right, I'm a something bake oven, right? You just put it in there, and we got a contender within 6 months. But that would be a red flag to me, right? If I'm the Panthers hirer, if they hire me, what do they always say? They hired a firm to go do a nationwide search.
Consultants.
A consulting firm to go do a nationwide search. That's the college thing to do, because they just have a couple $100,000 they want to throw away. If I were the consulting firm hired by the Panthers to hire their next head coach, and I said, how long do you think it's going to be until you can turn the Carolina Panthers into a contender? If somebody said, I don't see a reason why we can't do it this upcoming year, I would go, we're not going to hire you because you're completely comfortable lying to my face. Right? Or, even worse, you don't understand how hard of a job this is going to be, and you think you can actually do it next year. I don't want what you think I want to hear. I want what you actually think is possible. You don't want to overpromise. The real answer, I'm looking at it like this. The real answer is probably, all right, we're going to have to break it down in 2024, right? We're going to have to chop some things. We're going to have to cut some good players. We're going to have to put in a basic structure to support Bryce Young next year. I don't know if we'll see much team improvement, but we'll see Bryce Young improvement. We'll see real signs of progress. We'll win a couple games we shouldn't. We'll contend in games that will help us learn how to win in 2025. In 2026, if things go right, we might be in the mix for a playoff spot. If the division is down, if we really get lucky, a couple of things bounce our way, we don't get bit by the injury bug, maybe in 2026. By 2027, you can expect a good team. That's what would be my realistic answer. And it's good to set expectations that way. Hope for the best, prepare for what makes sense. 2027, I think, if you get the right hire of GM and coach, assuming you're looking for a new GM, that's when you can expect a good team. Anything faster than that would require luck. Is it possible? Sure, right? Teams get lucky, right? You want, like this upcoming year, if you draft, I don't know, Brock Purdy last overall, you can accelerate some things, right? If you're going to draft Tom Brady in the 6th, Dak Prescott in the 4th, Russell Wilson in the 3rd, if you're going to draft those guys, then yeah, you can jump a couple steps. But should you plan on it or promise it? Heck no. Hope is not a strategy. Hope is just hope. So, think about it like this. What is next year going to look like for Bryce Young? Are you going to have all the problems around him solved? No. Boomer Esiason joined the Panthers Playbook podcast, hosted by our very own Dennis Cox, along with WRAL's Chris Lee. Boomer Esiason, you know him, national sports media personality. He's up there on WFAN in New York City, and also a longtime NFL quarterback, former NFL MVP. This is what he had to say when asked what will be different next year for Bryce Young.
The other thing, however, that will be different and will be positive will be he'll know where he stands now when he comes in next year. He'll know that he's the leader of the team. He'll know that it's his team. He's still trying to figure all those things out as we speak, even with only 4 games left in the season. So he'll be a much more mature player next year, much more. I'm sure he'll work on his body. He'll put on some muscle, put on some weight. I'm sure he's going to work on those lower legs, the lower half, much like Tua Tagovailoa did. in his offseason, and he will commit himself. I don't ever question that about Bryce Young. He will commit himself to the team, to the aspect of being the best quarterback he can be, and he's going to be a learner. He'll soak up things as a sponge, so it'll be a little step back for him, but mentally and physically, he'll be so much more mature next year than he was this year.
That's not saying all the problems are going to be solved. That's what I would promise. If I were the next head coach and I was asked how long is this rebuild going to go, the first year would be we're going to see progress from Bryce Young. I don't know how many games we'll win as a team because we may have to trade Brian Burns, right, to bring in the things we need to make sure we see progress from Bryce Young. Right, we may have to reorganize some of our resources here, and the team might not have a tremendous amount of success next year because we don't have a tremendous amount of resources. The next year, I think you'll see improvement as a team. I think we'll start building. We'll have a core in place. The next year, if things go right, if things break our way, we could be in the mix for a playoff spot. The following year, sky's the limit, right? 2027 is what you should be expecting. And by the way, there's a good chance David Tepper, the owner, will look at you and go, 2027? Heck no. I need better than that. And he's going to be dramatic and demanding, right? He'll be like the Apollo 13, right? If you've seen the movie or read the story, right? Hey, you've given me whatever it was, like duct tape, a cardboard box, and a box of tissues. I can't make an air purifier with that. So, well, I don't care if you can or not. You have to, or else we're donezo. Right? Tepper might look at you and say, 2027? No, I need it in 2025. And if that's the case, if he truly sets the expectation there, I would say then I'm not your guy. And by the way, you're not going to find your guy. What you'll find is someone that'll lie to you and say they can do it by 2025 and hope they get lucky. Right? Hope they find an undrafted free agent that turns into an all-pro. But that's hope, and hope's not a strategy. The fact of the matter is the Panthers are not at square one. They're not at level. They're below ground right now. So the first thing they have to do is spend probably a year digging themselves out of that hole just to get to neutral, then start building their team.
Yeah, you got to look at Tepper and say, hey, you know what? There's no first-round pick this year, and I don't have a second-round pick next year. So those are two premium picks that I don't have. So either I got to, like you said, trade – like a Brian Burns or heck, a Derek Brown or somebody to recoup those, or that 2025 first-round pick, I got to trade down to recoup even further, and those guys have to develop.
I mean, it would be you got to be kind of blunt with old Tepper, and like, oh, even your third-round pick this past year, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. DJ Johnson, you're the guys who drafted him didn't even play him.
Hey, that guy, if you're like GM coming in, it's like, yeah, that guy you just had. The 2022 draft, you only had 3 guys on your roster from the 2022 draft, and only one of them starts.
So give me a year to get back to field level, and then I have to lay the foundation. That's what 2025 would be for. And then I can start building the house on top of the foundation. Then by 2027, we should have a nice little living situation, and 2 floors, maybe a pool out back. I'll be working on the deck by then. But I got to get back up out of this hole first.